Right, welcome back everyone. In the garage this afternoon, we're going to be doing a little bit of work on the little Metro race car that I've been trying to prepare for this season. It's taken a lot longer than I originally hoped. I was hoping to be out by now, but there we go. Projects, things like this happen, you know. It was ready to go and I decided that I was going to make a load of changes and yeah, screwed myself over for this season really. But I'm hoping that we can still catch a race this year. So I've been doing all the electrics and sorting all that out because that was a proper mess when I first got the car. The previous video you'd seen I was doing some PDM stuff with all the the lights, the wipers and all that sort of stuff. That is now all done. So we have gone in and we have done the engine control module. Now I've had all this wired in. It turns over and it tries to fire. But it just don't. There's lots of interference with the sensors. So I thought I'd just come on and I would explain again the progress on this car and where I've gone wrong. Basically, the engine wiring loom which I've done over here, again it's quite messy because there's lots of charger cables kicking around at the minute, charging the battery up, charging my jump pack up, charging my laptop up, time and light and all that sort of stuff. But the crank sensor, which is this little wire here, is a shielded wire and it goes into this plug here and it's then earthed onto the cylinder head. Now when I wired in the actual control unit from the bulkhead plug, which is this bunch of wires here, I used a generic wire from the ECU Masters engine wiring pack that they do. They supply all the wires which are labelled, just so you can make it nice and easy and tidy to connect things. And it didn't come with a shielded wire. Now I didn't think about this when I was doing this side of the engine wiring harness, but that should be shielded as well. Now I've got some shielded wire. We'll stick that in and see if that hopefully it will help. But yeah, it's just one of the mistakes that I've made when doing this. You know, I've thought about the engine side, but when I've obviously came to wiring this side, it just completely slipped my mind really. I just wanted to get it up and running. The other thing that I had to do as well is for the engine oil temperature gauge is I've had to bridge this 5 volt and the actual sensor for the temperature gauge with a 330 ohm resistor and do all the calculations on the computer, which someone had kindly sent me over the calculations for that, and it seems to be working spot on now, because beforehand I couldn't get the right temperature. That's either like 0 or 1 degrees, or that was like 68 degrees instead of, it should be reading ambient, which at the time was about 21 degrees. Anyway, let's dive into this bit. Let's get this harness back out, and then we can fit this new piece of shielded wire and go from there. Right, if you don't know what shielded wire is, so this is a twin core wire, so you've got 2 cores of wire. You've then got this little tin foil piece that wraps around the wire, and then you've got this piece of bare wire here, which is the actual shielded bit. So you basically want your crank or cam trigger to one of these wires, and then it goes to like a sensor earth on the actual ECU itself. And then this bit here is the bit that you attach to the cylinder head. Now, because being inside the car, we're not going to go all the way through the bulkhead connector, but we have already got 3 earths for the engine ECU, which are these power grounds here. There's just one of them that we can splice into, and need to go to the cylinder head on the other side anyway. So yeah, we'll splice into that. Hopefully that will go into there, that will splice onto there, and then we can connect it onto the ECU itself. Right, so I'm just going to time lapse this, and we'll de-pin this, we'll pin this, and then we can make our connections onto the ECU itself, and also just need to solder this resistor in, and then I can heat shrink that back up as well, and hopefully we can check our base timing and it will hopefully work. Yeah, I'm sure you can hear the confidence in my voice with that. Right, time lapse, let's go. Right, I just thought I'd before we time lapse the whole thing, I thought I'd just show you how I do these shielded wire connections. So I've already put my terminals on for my bulkhead connector plug, and then we've got our shielded cable here. So all I do in this occasion is, if I can find and grab one, is I use these little that's too big. I use these little crimps. Now, do you crimp it or do you solder it? There's a big debate in that, but I've been told that crimping is the best form, because apparently solder can that goes stiff and hard, and that can break and detach itself. So this is the method that I'm going to be using. So we'll just get a little piece of black wire in here. I have to apologise for the camera keep trying to focus in, but I think one of the lenses on my camera is broken, so it's trying to figure itself out basically. And that is that. And then all I use is a bit of heat shrink. I get a slightly bigger piece. And just get a bit of heat shrink on there, just to tidy all that up. And that's that. That is then ready to go into our bulkhead connector. and then we can splice that in the same manner as what we just did with the earth there onto the existing power grounds in the loom. So right, so that's all now in place. Took a lot longer than I was expecting, but it is one of them things when you're starting to mess around with custom stuff, I guess, with the wiring and stuff like that. If I can get you in there. Sorry, but you're on a big old tripod today because I've left my little one at the workshop. But grey cable is all the way in. That's now shielded. You don't need to shield at that end, just one end. Apparently if you shield at both ends, like earth both ends, that'll then act as an antenna. So you only need to earth one end of that wire, and I've just heat shrinked this end here just to tidy it up a bit. So yeah, that's that done. There's a couple of little bits and pieces which I want to do before I make a start on trying to set base timing, and that's to secure this plug in onto that tunnel there, and also I will need to put a bulkhead fitting in for the internal map sensor. So at the minute, see that pipe there, That's just running through the firewall through an open grommet at the minute, and I want to put a little bulkhead fitting in there if I brought it out with me. Yeah, so a little bulkhead fit in there to fit inside the bulkhead, just to tidy it up really. So I'll just do that off camera because it's only a case of drilling some holes and putting some screws in, and then we'll get around to setting the base timing. Right, that is the plug. This is for the wideband, and also so that's all secured into the thing to drill some holes and self-tappers. I've also put the bulkhead fitting in for the map sensor, so that's just gonna follow down this fire extinguisher pipe. It's a nice rigid pipe, so we're gonna connect everything to, or cable tie everything to this nice solid fire extinguisher pipe. I have left this a little bit long on purpose. That will just come and again follow that fire extinguisher pipe and get cable tied to that. Have done a little bit of housekeeping and just hoovered out the inside because there's a little bit of swarf kicking around and odd bits of wire that I've cut off, and that's just getting a little bit messy, so I've hoovered that out. Also this side again, map sensor pipe into the bulkhead fitting. So yeah, battery is all on charge. I need to wait for a member of the family to get home to check the base timing, because I can't physically check the timing with the gun and push the start button all the way over here. So yeah, I need to wait for someone to get home to do that. But we're sort of like, I've already done a right, so with this new crank sensor in, while I was waiting for a family member to come along, I'm just gonna do a scope test, and you can see I've got nice crisp lines there now. I'll put a photo of previously what it used to look like, but that was all over the place. So yeah, that was that's definitely a lot better now. So again, just waiting for someone to come and help me do the base timing. Once I've done that, then hopefully we can go for a start and that will fire into life. Yeah, go on. Right, so with that timing checked, that's now spot on. Now I do have an issue where sometimes it will be 180 degrees out. So I think it's purely because of the flywheel. That's 18 minus 1, 18 minus 1. So sometimes that will pick up on the wrong pickup point on the back of the flywheel. Now I have got a cam sensor in that is all hooked up, so I don't know why that is doing that, but we will see if it will start. Now I've locked this ignition angle obviously to 0 so we can check it, so we just need to make sure that we unlock this. Don't really know what's the best. We've got a little bit of a base map in here, which I got off one of the guys on the ECU Master forums. So yeah, big shout out to Tomek, who took the time to actually sort this out for me. So we've got all our injector phases in there. Again, we are running a cam sensor, so that should work out fine. Triggers, again, 18.1. So yeah, if your base timing is out, this trigger angle here, if I can zoom you in, so this trigger angle here, which is 37, you can adjust that up or down to then set your base timing to 0. Right, so that being said, I think we just need to give it a go and see what happens, I reckon. So we'll open the door actually, because I might need to feather the throttle, because I haven't got, although I've got the idle control valve in, I haven't actually, that's wired in, but I haven't actually set any of it up yet. So that's for the injectors and the coils, and for the cam sensor. Obviously fuel pump, and start. Get the old throttle ready. Let's try it. And then it does this, that locks out for some reason. So we just need to reset it. But I just think purely because the battery that I've got isn't designed to do that, to take that much draw really. So once it locks up, it takes too much draw. And I'm not sure if it's the battery or if it's the actual battery isolator itself. But what I've got here is my charger, my battery booster pack, and that's just straight onto the thing, so that then hopefully sort itself out. Right, I'm going to plonk you down here. If I move all this out of the way, we'll give you another view. Right, the battery's starting to go a little bit flat now, so we're just going to let it charge up. As you can see, it's almost ready. It's just not quite getting there. So yeah, we'll just keep on plugging. As I was stopping and starting, I was just making little changes on the computer. You know, just changing the injector state and changing the ignition time a little bit, and then yeah, just trying little different things just to see if it makes only little changes, just to see if it made it easier to start or worse to start. So yeah, let me go back and let's charge this battery up for a little while, and then we'll be back in a second. Right, so it's not all good news. I'll stick a clip in. I've managed to get it running. But really not running very well at all. I think the issue is going to be the flywheel. Again, I'll put some pictures up, but the flywheel I've got on here is what they call an early rover 18-1, 18-1. So there's 2 points where there's missing teeth, 180 degrees across from each other. And I think it's struggling to pick up the top dead center point on that, even with the camshaft sensor. Because this engine used to be distributor, so the distributor on the camshaft will provide the timing in sense. Now I've gone to coil pack, it doesn't do that. I've got 2 options really. I can either put a crank trigger kit on the pulley, which I'd have to make, and also readapt the engine side wiring harness. And as you know, I've already done all that and made it all nice, and yeah, I don't really want to do that. Or the second option is to remove the gearbox and swap the flywheels over from the early type to the later type, which is sort of what you see in the later MG Rovers and earlier leases and stuff like that. It's got a slightly different trigger pattern, but that should then work with the cam sensor as well. So yeah, that is pretty much where I'm at. Again, we did get it running, although not very nice. So it's now down to the point of where I need to make some more changes. So I think that'll do it for this video. And I'm going to start pulling out the gearbox in between videos and swap that flywheel over. So once I've done that, I'll then make another video, and yeah, and hopefully that'll be running sweet. So thank you for bearing with me and watching this monstrosity of me trying to figure out and trying to get this to run. It didn't work, so we're now going to plan B. Right, we'll see you in the next video.